meeting to order at 6 p.m. Okay, welcome everybody. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from July 8th. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Just 2 seconds, I'm not sure, I can pick one. Okay, has everybody read them?
Yes.
Yes.
Any comments or discussion? All those in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, then we have additions and deletions. Down below, we're gonna get Corey's website. Any other members of the public besides Laura we have here, and Dale, and online we have Sean and Helen. So, correspondence, I see none. Warrants, Rob, would you like to read the warrants for us?
Make a motion to pay the warrants starting with number 1 payroll in the amount of $14,626.33. Number 2 payroll tax in the amount of $6,641.27. Number 3 general fund in the amount of $41,097.28. Number 4 general fund in the amount of $140.50. Number 5 highway fund in the amount of $82,077.96 for a total of $144,583.34. Second.
Okay. Discussion. I have some information about the 82K on highway if anybody would like it. It was the mitigation money that we received 2 years ago was booked as a highway revenue. And now that we're paying the bill, I said, well, it was booked in the wrong place, but I can't change it now. And I said, well, then maybe we should book the expense to the highway where the revenue went. And then when we get the auditor in here, maybe they can fix it. So that's what I told her to do, but I said I would talk to you folks about that because we had to book it somewhere, we had to pay it. We received the grant for it. We were reimbursed ahead of time instead of, and it went to the highway. So that's 11,000 and then the 60,000 for the paving, so it makes the gravel crushing, so it makes the 82 not be such a severe number when you think of it that way. So, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The treasurer, somewhere she had a, was it on the highway?
We're going, it's just, that's first.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do this, all of this, or do you want to move that?
Becky, would you like to go now? You have an appointment to be somewhere else.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Okay.
what if I,
Is that okay with the board if we take Becky first?
Sure.
Okay.
you go ahead and present what, how you'd like, I'll take questions.
Okay. We have a lot of questions about this morning I just got wind of a Crosby Lerman Core Logic situation from 2 years ago. And it has to do with delinquent taxes and things being book kept incorrectly. And I didn't know if that's something you're prepared to talk about today, or do you want to look into it and get back to us?
I just have the information that I was given, so I don't really have a response to that. But I know it's happening, I know there's been a mess up, but
How do we rectify this mess up?
I don't know, because it was payments, I believe, applied in a certain way. But it came to me as delinquent, so that's all I can go by.
Right. Okay. The other thing, where do you stand about tax sales?
They are happening. August 27th is the date. There's 7 properties right now.
And are these on this list right here?
There's 7 of them that are on there, yes. there was a couple taken off due to insufficient deed information.
So,
And one of them was taken off because the lawyer, it was too small of amount for the lawyers to deal with. And
and
another,
how do we know when you're saying some were taken off? How do we know? How do I understand what you're saying and apply it
So
to
the
this
ones-
list?
I just, on last Friday, went to the lawyers and signed the documents that are going to the taxpayers. And they're now, I just gave them to Alenka, they'll be posted out front, the 7 that are going to tax sale.
Okay, but we had asked you to when you give things to Elaine and to the
I just gave that to them.
clerk, but that you would give it to us as well.
There, it's out front there. It will be posted at the post office and up there. But it wasn't just until, I mean, the date that I gave you when I met with you, that just got certified last Friday when I went there and signed them.
So ones like the almost $40,000 from the deceased man with the family and
She's not,
That's
That's
not
not-
what
she's
I'm
not
talking
talking
about.
that's
That's-
the topic we're doing tonight, but she's talking about that area.
There's 7 on that list that are ready for tax sale. The one that I'm proposing the board agree to get it so that you can put it to tax sale, that's not at the point yet. That's,
go ahead.
So in your packet, you have a delinquent tax collection summary, and that is the summary that I put together after we met with Becky. And in front of the board tonight is a request to do the legal research that is required to get, I wanna say 2 or 3 properties.
there's 2.
There's 2 properties to the point where it can go to tax sale. It's not there now because there is some dispute, uncertainty, or stuff that has to be done through legal processes to get them there in terms of research. So it would mean the board would decide to lay out the cost of that legal research. It will eventually come back to the town, but there needs to be some upfront expense in order to get those properties to the point where they can go to tax sale. And those are highlighted, or the request is highlighted in the amounts, I think.
And if I may, I'll speak to that. So I have come to previous boards before with this, but at this point, this is like up to $50,000 worth of taxes that have been sitting on the books for almost 15 years now. And if we don't do anything about them, they won't, when a tax sale can happen, it won't be worth anything to anybody. They won't bid on it. So you're at a crossroads, in my opinion.
And then there's one like this $445 one.
I wouldn't even.
No, we're not gonna tax sale it, but is there any way that we can, ask the budding person if they want that quarter acre and have it be on their tax bill from now
You
on?
can't.
You gotta put it to auction before you do that.
Yeah,
You can't really do that. And with the minimum amount, lawyers won't touch anything under like $1,000, and they probably wouldn't even do it for $1,000. As you'll notice, the 7 properties that I'm now putting up are significant dollar amounts. And the other thing I want to raise to the board is there hasn't been a tax sale in a while, if you haven't noticed, and that's state legislature laws have changed a lot. And they're pushing, they wanted to have 5 years worth of delinquent taxes before I could do a tax sale. It's now, a person has to be delinquent, it's solid 12 months before I can even go after a tax sale. So that's another reason why there hasn't been one in a bit.
this is give us an approximate dollar amount for the lawyer.
Not for the lawyer, no, we don't know that.
Okay, what does the board have to say? We must have questions.
I believe what this is going to entail, part of the reason why these parcels haven't gone is there was no estate set up, no probate. So lawyers are gonna have to go through the processes they go through in order to get it, notify the proper channels of people to get it so you can have a tax sale on it. I've done, over the last 10 years, I've tried to call, the one parcel in particular has like 8 kids, half of them don't speak English. Like, I've done my Google research of my own, which has led me down many rabbit holes that weren't very good.
So you want us to give you permission to go forward, is that?
I guess permission to reach out to an attorney, and I mean, I guess I should try and get a quote, like, are we talking 5,000, are we talking 20? And then maybe come back and say, but these properties are sitting on my list, and you guys are asking where the money's, why isn't it coming in? Well, I'm telling you why.
So Becky, you have a policy that says you try to get taxpayers current within 12 months.
Yep.
Is that happening in most cases?
Yes, sure is. Aside from, there's a little bit of a delay now, because a lot of people currently have 2 years that are delinquent because the state of Vermont told me I couldn't do anything before that. My prior, the tax sale schedule that I used to follow, after 6 months, I'll send taxpayers that I'm trying to work with a letter saying, you need to either give me this amount for the remaining, 6 months have passed and I haven't heard from you. And now, after 6 months, this is the amount. And if they don't respond or agree to anything with me, at that point I used to go right to the lawyers. And then technically the tax sale would usually happen about almost 12 months in. But now it's just delayed, like another 6 months.
So, if I understand correctly, you're gonna get us some ballpark figures for lawyers. They're basically saying, go ahead, call the lawyers and get us some figures.
I'm gonna talk to the lawyers and ask them, I want to ask you if you can do this, and I'll see what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll let you guys know what they say, if you guys agree to going down that path.
And if your guy doesn't do it, then you'll ask. the
I'll ask
lawyer
somebody
that
else to do it.
That we suggested. Okay. Any other questions, or should we move along?
Do we need a motion on that, or do we direct it to go ahead and pursue it?
I have a question.
Get
Yes.
a bid,
Yeah, and then,
so come back with some
Do the
bids.
costs of the lawyers get added on to the amount that they have to pay?
Yes,
Is that
that's
how
why Connie said
that's
eventually
resolved?
we will recoup it, but it will be an upfront expense to start with. So, Rob, you were saying what I'm thinking, that we don't have to have a motion
No,
until,
we're requesting a bid, so
Right.
she can get the bids, brings the bids back, and then
then we
we
talk.
would make a
Then
motion
we make
to,
motions. Okay,
So I have your support to
you
move
do.
down this path.
Yes.
And just please keep us, when you give either person a piece of paper, one more piece of paper on Connie's desk, please. Because it gets forgotten sometimes and then we don't know.
Regarding the bid, or,
Well,
Tax
anything,
sale. I
anything.
think you
Well,
literally just
the
dropped
tax sales are out there. I mean, I can send you that information, I have it in my computer. It's just gonna be ever changing, like, it's now here, and I'm sure I'll be getting lots of phone calls, I already am, regarding parcels and tax sales, so it's gonna be changing day by day. I mean, I can't really update you day by day on.
No, but when we give them an official piece of paper, we might not see it up front there.
Well, it has to be legally posted on that wall, so I'll be checking next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
have a good meeting.
Highwayman,
Just a couple things. Countryside has completed the updating of our fire alarm in the town barn. We had to fix a few sensors as well. I'm guessing, I haven't really dealt with the invoicing end of it, so I haven't seen what they actually have done. but the system is done and complete. I had a meeting with Project WorkSafe today regarding just going over things that need to be updated as far as stemming from our VOSHA violations that we had a few months ago. Just to follow up part of our, what do they call it?
Ongoing mitigation.
Ongoing mitigation. So I have a list of things written down, plus he's gonna send us a report on things that need to be taken care of. Other than that, the GMP has already come up and over the hill on Plum Road, and they're moving to East Hill, I think Monday they're gonna be starting. I have had some complaints about the road being rough, but it's a construction project in process, and they are far from done. So I don't know what to tell people. They're either gonna complain on this end or complain when they don't have power. I don't, it's one of those things. I think they're doing a much better job than they did on West Hill. We're getting a lot of culverts replaced for free, so there is an upside to this. The crew that is doing the culverts, I think, is doing a lot better job than the last crew that did it on West Hill. And I've been going by and talking with them daily, so that I know what's going on and staying in the loop. So, other than that,
Route 35 is all done.
huh?
Route 35 is all done.
Route 35, the paving is done. I think we paid the bill, or it's coming soon, so we can get reimbursed from the state. So, any questions?
Who's running the excavator?
I am.
No one's running the excavator when you're sitting down here or running. around checking
Red was in it last week. I'm trying to get those guys in it, so trying to keep it as busy as I can. So.
Thank you very much. Then we will move on to the treasurer. The report that I've got says we have $496,438.57 in our municipal account, and then the swing account has the normal $30,000. Then the town clerk wrote in for the first 2 weeks of July, $631.70. Then we go on to the chair report. I have 3 things. We started last year a 200 fund or highway committee. And basically that committee was to get together with people that have their hands on that committee or interest in that part of the government, and it's worked very well. So Connie and I were talking about having a 100 fund, and then possibly when it gets to be budget time, the 200 and the 100 could come together with their figures for their funds, and the budgeting process would be a lot easier at that point. So that's just throwing out to you folks what we'd like to do, if you're okay with us doing that. And we can put it out to like people, and if another select board member wants to be part of it, that would be great too. Moving on to Simpson Brook Road, the fence. Jeremy had to take a fence down. The fence, from the map I can pull up and from Jeremy's expertise, tells me that the fence was in the right of way. But he took it down, did the work, and then put the fence back up, and the lady said that the fence has a crack in it and she wants a new fence. So,
And that fence is brand new, isn't it?
Yes. We took it down by hand and put it back up by hand, so I don't know where she's getting the crack from. We might have scratched it, but it didn't go back in the same spot because of the way, the earth changes once you move all that stuff around, and I had to build a header basically on the outlet side, so I had to move it. It's not where it was originally. It's actually closer to the road than it was. So, but that fence is well within the right of way, so.
to me, the bigger question is, what is our stance on right of ways? know, if people put a fence in a right of way and a snow plow with a lot of snow pushes the fence over, are we responsible to put back up a fence that's already in the right of way? I, as one person, would say no, but, I know in the past we have done that. And
When did we fix anybody's fence?
when did, Liza Martin's old house, it was years ago, maybe before you were born.
Section of road in question is
You didn't
pretty
even come
narrow
to town
as it
until I was
is.
like 10, so don't tell me about that.
So it's just, it's more about our stance on property in the right of way, I think.
Well, there's a lot of properties that have fences that are in the right of way.
Mhm. But are we responsible for them, or are they taking a chance putting the fence in the right of way?
I believe they're taking a chance of putting their fence in the right of way.
Right,
That's what I would agree with.
so I'm not saying we should vote on it or anything, but it is, I don't know how we want to respond to this woman.
There is a request out there from the resident. So
She wants a new fence.
I'm pretty sure that there's statutes in the state that talk about right-of-ways and what the town is responsible for in the right-of-way and what the landowner is responsible for in the right-of-way.
That's correct. It's Title
So-
19.
How about we ask Connie to research that and compose a letter to said taxpayer and have us approve it the next meeting?
Or just come out with a statute and just send them the statute without the letter.
Okay,
Now, that
Well, and
way,
without-
that way they get a prompt
okay,
answer and
I'm happy with that too. So, do we need a motion for that, or just let Connie do it?
No, let Connie research it.
So research it and send the select to, is that what?
Yeah,
please.
thank you. And then, the thing we've received the most calls about this week was the sign on the triangle.
Yeah.
That falls over all the time, and people pick it back up, and people call the town.
So I'm surprised it's there because that's in the state right of way for Route 30.
Mhm.
And they should be taking that out.
My feeling is that it's not bad to have, if there's something going on and somebody puts a sign there and it's for a day, a week, not a big deal.
And it's just,
But we've been months and now more signs are showing up, and Judy Teets does a very nice job putting the flowers in and has for years on her own time and her own dime, the whole 9 yards, and that kind of circumvents what she's doing. And, you know, whether you like the sign or you don't like the sign, it's obstructing the view of her flowers. And it's gone on for long enough where, you know, you got an event coming out, put your sign out week before and remove it. Don't make it like it's a permanent fixture.
okay, so what should we do about that?
Call Mark
Get a
Pickering.
committee, form a committee and sign
And you'll be the
ordinances.
head of
I think like Steve said, get a hold of Mark Pickering and
He'll handle it.
And he'll handle it?
Yep.
To bring to his attention that there is,
A sign in the state's right of way on Route 30 at the intersection of Route 35. I mean, 2 years ago when Bull Royce was selling hot dogs and hamburgers on the other side of the covered bridge, he was putting the sign on the edge of Route 30 and that sign had to go.
same with West Townsend at the store. They had a sign that was too close to Route 30. They had to move it. So
we
it's
bring it
not,
to the attention of the people whose signs those are, that we will be contacted with that, and just give them a chance to remove the sign.
well, I think 2 of them are.
Yes.
They were last night messing with that sign. I saw a truck parked there messing with the sign last night.
It
I've
was, it was
seen it
tipped over.
face down on the grass half a dozen times already, so.
So there's like Athens puts their signs up, there's Athens.
I think
Universe,
that's what
and-
Steve is talking about, when something's next weekend and it's a small sign.
I think I brought that up, but yeah.
Oh, you said that, sorry.
I don't want Steve to get credit.
Sorry.
Others do.
But, so are we saying that the West Townsend farmer's market sign and the Athens sign should not be there. And therefore, let them know that, let those organizations know that.
There's the high school. There's no ordinance, there's, you know.
You should ask Mark what's
About that.
acceptable.
Okay.
Well, the signs are small.
And they're not like 2 months ahead of time.
That's my thing, is it's the length of time that it's there. It's like, not a problem that there's a sign there, but just let it be known that you got a function going on a little before your function and move on.
Okay. And the chair is done with her report, and we'll move on to the grant coordinator. We have a monthly report and then the request to apply for the USDA trash equipment grant.
Okay, so, first I'll start with highway. Our fiscal year 25 grants are all, in progress. The Route 35 paving has been completed, and I believe the, reimbursement documents are in the process of being, given over, so we should be seeing that reimbursement pretty quickly, she said. It's not gonna be too long. So that's really great. And our highway committee's been meeting to just talk about things like that so that we can talk about those reimbursements and timeframes and everything. We met with V-Trans, with Megan Brunk to talk about the Bridge 43 structures and then the Bridge 41, engineering study so that we could get an idea of when to write those RFPs because the timelines are much longer than some of the grants that we deal with, so we've got that all going on and we've got our dates and we've got some templates and a little bit more information on how that's gonna look. So that covers fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26. And otherwise, as of my last report, our fiscal year 26, we were still waiting. Usually July 1st, they send us all of our grant agreements and we had been waiting for those to come in and they came in. So we're all set with everything for all of our paperwork. So now it's just to wait for those go times and how long we have to spend that money. So we've been just discussing all of this with Megan because we like to check in with Megan every so often to just make sure that we're doing it, keeping everything in order and the timelines mostly because they can be a little bit confusing. Okay, so the bike and pedestrian grants, we're doing 2 of those. One for the sidewalk in front of Leland and Gray and the other is the scoping study. Both of those applications have been submitted. We met with Colin, Jeremy and I did on July 10th, and then the documents were all submitted on July 11th. You guys had seen those letters of support that we had signed, Ally had signed for us. So that's all set. Now we just have to wait and find out if we get them. Colin feels like we have a really good chance because we have so many facilities right here, like schools and churches and hospitals and nursing homes, and it really makes us a good candidate for helping with our infrastructure. So that's exciting. So the USDA is kind of the biggest thing. They have some money still, and the representative from the USDA, they deal with Vermont, New Hampshire, they're corresponding with me very regularly. So Connie and I started meeting with the VLCT. I asked Connie to join me on those meetings because there's some, the application is just way different than anything that we've done before. Maybe it's a little bit similar to FEMA, but I'm not sure. And so for a half hour here and there, I've been asking Connie to jump in with me on that just to listen to what the VLCT has to say because they do have someone that can support grants, will help your town with that. So I've been basically talking to the USDA person, and this is about our transfer station. This is about getting a compactor to replace the compactor truck. Jeremy brought up a great point, which is that the compactor truck has kind of, I mean, we could ideally get another compactor truck, and that's what originally we thought we wanted to do, but it sounds like getting a standalone compactor might make more sense and having those dumpsters switched out. I think all of those numbers have been crunched in the committee that have happened throughout the year, so we haven't completely decided. We're still gathering estimates on all scenarios of either of these projects to really zero in and then come back to the select board and say this is what we would like to do. My goal is to, if the board gives me permission, the goal is to submit the application somewhere around let's see, the week of August 11th, which would give me our select board meeting August 12th if I needed to clarify anything before we submitted. When I spoke to the USDA last time, I thought we were gonna have to be in some kind of pre-screening and all of this, and she said, nope, you've been talking to us long enough, you're at application step, which is more like step 3 instead of step -3, which is what it looks like when you look at the directions. So that was good. So we're at, there's a lot of feasibility questions, then there's just that standard, what's your text number stuff and things like that. And then I had to get our town charter from the state. So that's kind of stuff that I've been dealing with. There is a public meeting requirement that can happen anytime in the process, and that can be taken care of during a select board meeting, so we don't have to have a special meeting if we don't want to. We would just maybe put it first on the agenda because it has to happen at an exact time that you warn it 10 days ahead of time. So that could be up to the board, obviously, how they would want to do that. And that basically just says, hey, we're submitting this grant and this is what we want to do for the transfer station, which still we revisited the conversation that was had at town meeting. And I think that what we're hoping to accomplish with this USDA grant stays within the scope of what the town had said, which is keeping the current system and getting this compactor. The beauty of that is that these USDA grants are usually very large, $500,000, $1.5 million. We possibly only would need, if we went with one scenario of getting a compactor, the standalone compactor, maybe $30,000 to $60,000. And something that we've experienced in the past, and the USDA contact and the VLCT both agree that sometimes when you need those small amount of monies at the end of fiscal years, you can have a good chance of getting them because they do like to spend all of their funds. And so it really kind of motivates me to think that we are small and we have a small need, but it's a big need to us. And if we could accomplish that with this, that would be really great for us in all of this unknown that goes on with our compactor truck. So let's see, I think that's it for the USDA because we can, unless you guys want to decide right now.
So what are you saying? So this is like, we're trying to slide, I guess, like end of year funds for USDA, so this is like.
Their fiscal year ends September 30th.
Yeah.
And so, we wanna get the application in mid-August so that there's plenty of time for that end of fiscal year. They accept these applications rolling.
Okay.
I thought that we might not be eligible because they opened it in January, but she said, no, there's still money,
Yeah.
you should still apply. So, you know, that helped my decision on that.
And there's no matching requirement?
There is a 25% match, and that's a little muddy, so we've been going, we wanna wait until we have the numbers on what we exactly wanna do before I go back to the contact person and ask her what would be reasonable for, our side of the funding of it. I guess it's an up to 75% coverage for them and an up to
25%.
or could possibly be more, I guess, than that. But the beauty of also asking for a little bit less money is your match goes less.
Yeah.
So we might, we would be able to show the USDA that we were going to possibly put it in our next fiscal year budget. Or if the town wanted to special article it that we were going that way, that kind of language is how you prove that the funds. So we don't have to have already raised those funds.
Okay.
And, you know, applications, I wanna stress, every time that applications are not grant agreements.
Yeah.
We can submit an application, it doesn't mean we have to accept the grant when they come back to us with the numbers. If it doesn't seem like it's gonna work for us, we don't have to do it. It's just something that I think very strongly that we should try for. Because it would be nice to get that equipment for them and, from them, and also, we don't know if it's gonna be around further. They weren't able to say, they actually said apply now because we don't know what's gonna happen next year. They've had a lot of cuts in their staffing. So I just think this is a timing thing and we should jump on it. That's my opinion. So I do wanna request your permission to apply for this grant.
Motion to authorize Katie Morrow's grant coordinator to apply for the USDA trash equipment grant.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, Katie, before we move on, I had 2 questions about the covered wire outside. Was that from when we did the roof? And does that need to stay there?
Oh, I don't know, I can ask.
Okay. And the other thing was, we talked about possibly, maybe not, the fountain being more presentable for.
That's on my list.
Oh, good.
Let you know where I'm at with that.
Okay, good.
Okay. Covered wire, okay, I will ask, I know GMP put it up there, I didn't even realize that they didn't take it down, I don't know what function it
I don't
still
know if we
serves.
need to tell them to take it down.
Usually,
I mean, it
it's
was,
good, usually you just give them a call and say, hey, we're done, and they'll come
Mhm.
remove it.
okay, yeah, so I should call GMP then? Okay, so, I called the historic preservation people because we had gotten the slate roof grant and that went really well, and I wanted to know on the off chance that we could apply again, and she said not this October, but next October, which is actually a blessing in disguise because it's been really hard to find a contractor to look at the windows upstairs. But, if those windows still need repairing next October, I do think that we should try to get the grant. When Preservation Trust came by last summer, they said, let's prioritize this slate roof first. Windows second, you can kind of keep applying for funding and you'll probably get it because they're very interested in our building. So that is, you know, in the future, but is something that I've raised before in some of my updates that those windows upstairs were on my radar, especially with this ongoing preservation of the building. The fire alarms, Jeremy said, had been installed, so I'm waiting to hear about that invoice because I wanted to submit it on VLCT passive so we can get 50% reimbursement for that. Last I checked, we should be able to, so, and that's.
Do you need a copy of the invoice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the application for that is pretty straightforward, and the passive person I've spoken to many times, I believe her name is Leah, so she knows I was gonna call her, and then she'll just walk me through it. And then otherwise, about the fountain, I spoke to Preservation Trust because we had just received those MTAP funds from them, and I had Nicole's attention, so I reached back out to her and I said, hey, we also have this fountain that we've been trying to figure out how to fix and where that fits in a category, because it's not really infrastructure, and it is historic preservation, but it doesn't really fit under that, and also it's an asset, and it's a thing that's beloved to the town, so how do I deal with that? She gave me 3 different programs that she thought might help, which I've been reaching out to separately, and then I found a different one in Brattleboro that I've been in conversations with. Otherwise, we do have the $4,800 set aside from the $20,000 funds last September that we did put aside for the fountain. About a month ago, I talked to Rob about the broken pipe. Obviously, Jeff is kind of just waiting to hear back from us one of these months about when he can fix the drain. So I think we just have to reimagine the project. Since I wasn't able to get the T-Mobile grant, which I think I don't know why it doesn't fit for that, but they did award it in Brattleboro, so they might not have wanted to award 2 in Windham County. I'm not sure. But that does mean they're coming this way, so
And
it's
they just put their cones up on our tree out there.
Yeah, so it's not like out of the discussion, but I was happy to reach out to Preservation Trust and get a couple more leads on who might help us with that funding. So right now, I'm kind of thinking about this as all of the different aspects coming together and how much is this realistically gonna cost. If we just resurfaced instead of rebuilt the pool, if that's possible with what needs to happen with the drain. We had another company come to look at the pump, which Jeremy spoke to, right? He came and looked at it and he said it could be fixed.
It is fixed,
It
yeah,
is
he fixed it.
Excellent, I
He
wonder
said
if
he's
we
gonna
can-
hold it for us until we're ready for it.
Okay, so the fountain leaks, which is what they found out last year. That's why the drain underneath it is broken. But now that the pump works, it ran.
Don't they make very nice paint that water seals things?
It's not about the sculpture, it's about the pipe underneath is broken.
Oh, it's not the basin, it's not the sculpture.
No, so like, when you want that water to recirculate, it can't recirculate when
Because
it's
it's
pumped.
dissipating.
Right,
The
and,
the other thing that needs to be addressed is the pump housing,
yes,
because it fills up with water, it needs to be, watertight
So
tank.
I've talked to a couple different concrete contractors about that aspect of it, about creating a different kind of equipment housing, because that equipment housing just isn't working for what it needs to be. And the electrical in there obviously needs to be, I personally don't think we should use it with the electrical not fixed. But we do have 4,000.
You afraid of it burning down?
Huh?
Is it gonna burn down?
It's just like a wire leading to an outlet is not,
That's sitting in water and kids are playing there.
well, and people are plugging that in, it's not, it's should get taken care of in a way that it's not like that. We do have $4,830 of fountain funds if we did wanna pursue the electrical in the short term, if Fair Day was something that people wanted the fountain to be ran for. So that is an option, but I have been trying to get this larger cost of what everything, each itemized thing is gonna cost. I know how much it would be to repaint, to take the paint off and reapply the paint is about $4,600. So, it's still on my radar. I'm still trying to talk to people about the different opportunities for funding, and then just keep getting estimates on all the different parts of it, so I could put it all together and show it to you guys. So, I think that's all I have.
And should we talk trees, or in the interest of time, we'll talk about that a different day?
We could, they came back and looked at the tree. There was too much sod under it, and actually the bag itself
There
failed.
was too much air.
There was air, and the way it was planted, there was air, plus the bag wasn't bleaching.
Yeah, the bag failed, and that's mostly why the tree died.
And he did come back to us with, but we can talk about that when we write up an RFP for it.
Yeah, and he did give us a lot of leads for,
I did call the kids in Brattleboro, the extension service or whatever they are, to see if we could be put on their list of people they may work with in the fall, just as.
He has, he's also reached out to see if we are interested in a November meeting to demonstrate tree care. I think he thinks to the road crew. I think that's who we assumed would do it.
I think it sounded like he would open the meeting to anybody that would want to come and.
Or volunteer.
Yeah, that would be a
volunteers.
decision for the board.
So, yeah, but yes, us directed to
So
somebody.
if the board's okay with that, we can tell them we're interested in that November meeting.
I think that's good. Okay, shall we move on, folks?
Yes.
Setting the tax rate for FY '26. I see a piece of paper with a lot of numbers that you guys were sent ahead of time so that you could feel in the know. Are there any questions, comments, corrections about what you see in front of you?
No, everything looks clean.
So Connie, I think we have to make a motion to accept each three of these, is that correct, or just these two?
Yeah, it's these, right here, it's
Yep.
just these two.
Make a motion to accept the total municipal homestead tax rate and the total municipal non-homestead tax rate for 2025, 26,
Fiscal year 26.
fiscal year 26.
Second,
And do we give amounts?
yes.
The total municipal homestead rate is 2.0299, or 2.85814, sorry. And the municipal non-homestead rate is 2.682104.
Okay, discussion, folks?
That's a large increase.
Well, you look at our special articles, that's pretty much,
It's the 400 grand for the highway department.
that's what I feel, I don't, you know,
Although if you looked at last year's versus speaking out, it's only 9 cents difference, which is $200,000 difference.
Yeah. Just about the bridge repair, special article.
I don't think it's an astronomical raise, but it is a raise.
I mean, we're rich.
Huh?
There's poor people in this town. Not everybody's rich.
I don't understand that.
There's a lot of people on fixed income. Townsend has a very aged population. A lot of people are living off of Social Security.
I know. And a lot of people are afraid of a reappraisal and a lot of other different things, but, I mean, you folks are welcome to tweak these numbers, and then at budget time, come in and help with the budget, and maybe we can get it even down further. Maybe the 100 fund will, I mean, I was kind of proud that the 100 fund was budgeted and came in almost to the penny. You know, and the rate went from 13 cents to 14 cents per 100, so.
I know that in the past, I haven't looked at it recently, but a few years ago, a 2.858 would be in the top 10 of the 251 towns in the state.
That would be interesting to look at. You want to look at that? I mean, we gotta set the rate tonight because we gotta then split this with tax bills out. But for going forward, it might be interesting to know.
It's already, these are all voted at town meeting, so these are actual numbers.
Yep.
This is the reality.
Yeah, the only real number we didn't have at town meeting was the grand list, and I did a 6-year comparison on that, and it hasn't changed, but up and down $100,000 over the 6 years, so.
That's because we haven't had a reappraisal. Once we have a reappraisal, the grand list will go cranking up.
That's right.
It'll drop these numbers down for a year. Mud will catch up on it, and we'll be right back to a 3.8 by the time they get done.
So,
My point being though is that for a little tiny town of Townshend, that's a large tax rate for what we've got going on. And like Dale said, it's already been voted on, so there's nothing to do.
So people are gonna have to address it at the next town meeting then, huh?
oh no, when we do.
Do
but-
budget.
yeah,
We'll
but
do budgets.
When we do our budget reports, our budget committees, and we invite the public in for that.
And then, yes, town meeting.
Town meeting, special articles, if they pass or not.
So we have a motion on the floor, did we have a second?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, and any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the ayes have it, and now we are going on to our backhoe grader lease payment. Connie, do you want to speak to this as per your committee?
So a few months ago, the Highway Committee put out a proposal. And one part of our proposal, we said that we would address later. So now's the time that we need to start making a decision on the directive at town meeting, which is to pay off the lease of the backhoe. The town residents voted to use some of the reserve money to pay off the backhoe. And we have a lease agreement payment coming due, and so we need to decide how we want to pay that. So the summary here basically says that if we pay off, and I did get the most recent payoff figure back in May or April, whenever I raised this originally, the payoff figure was $113,000. If we pay it off on September 1st or September 3rd, it has gone up $3,000. It will be $116,000 because of interest. And so if we pay off the backhoe, because we have to make a payment, and we've been instructed to pay it off, it would be $116,000. We would have another $91,000 for the grader lease payment. That will use up the current funds. It's more than we currently have in the highway equipment reserve fund, so it would require deficit spending, in my opinion, because once we do our second tax collection in November, then we will have the funds to pay off both of these commitments. So I think that the treasurer would want a directive from the select board of how we're going to pay it.
And just to add something to this, the treasurer always tells us we can't spend money except when we collect taxes, but when we vote on something at town meeting, we vote to do something and not with a time frame. So it's just, we're not mandating this 100. The treasurer is mandating that. And the taxpayers have not voted it that way. Just a point of reference.
My thought would be to pay 50 towards the bucket loader and 50 towards the grader, and then in November, pay another 50.
In mid-September, by the end of September, we have to pay $91,000 for the grader. That's the lease.
Payment's due on the 24th.
24th, that's a payment we have to make. Then there's another 30-something that is a grader lease payment. We could just pay the lease payment and then choose to pay off the lease at another point. But I think the idea was to just pay off the backhoe and then pay that $91,000 lease payment.
Or you borrow money on a short term in lieu of taxes.
Yeah, well, there's
That's what
always
you would have to do if you didn't have enough taxes coming in.
payment in lieu of taxes, yeah. We do
Well, that's what
have,
they have written down here.
we do have a line of credit, but
Reserve funds in there.
By November's tax collection, there'll be enough money there, so it would mean going for the last, maybe the last payment cycle in September, and then 4 more payment cycles before we get all the funds.
so what are we looking for right now? Are we looking for
Director,
a motion or just conversation?
By the way I look at it, we're looking for a motion to run a deficit
Right.
spending until November to pay off the 91 and the 113.
And we don't know it will be deficit spend.
Well, if we don't collect the taxes, it will.
whether it's deficit spending right now or it's borrowing into
It
business.
would definitely be deficit spending for that budget line item. There probably is enough money once we
That's
collect
what I'm
all the
saying.
taxes, but it would be a deficit spending for that budget line item.
See, it would be helpful for the treasurer to be here, because the question I would have for her is how many taxpayers pay their tax bill in full on payment one?
Ah. And I'm not sure we have to make a decision tonight, but we're getting to the point where we have to make a decision.
So make sure that this is on next.
Do you want me to ask her that?
Yes, please.
Any other questions for the treasurer that?
Maybe after our latter part of the meeting, we'll have more.
Well, I mean on this.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I have a question about the body of the freight liner. Do you remember what that quote came in as?
We're around 55.
It was 55?
We're gonna take that out of last year's appropriation.
Right, which we have 75?
75, somewhere in that neighborhood.
75,
Okay, then we'll move on to Corey.
All right, you all have that, just scoot up here so I can sit. You have the final recommendation of the website committee. Nick was your select board appointee. We had Marilee Atlee, my daughter who works for FBL, she does their website development on Lincoln County, and we had 2 in-person meetings here. We had a testimony, so to speak, from 2 Vermont website developers, and we did them independently of one another, but they were both interestingly parallel in what they said. Well, if you want people to bid on this, this is what you ought to put in there, and we did. So it's pretty short and sweet and to the point, and as you all know from RFPs, this is the easy part. It just is enough the RFP. The hard part comes when we start getting the responses and then to make that decision. But this really is consistent with what those folks came and told us they want to see. My own phone calls with people around, they said, this is what you want to put in there so we know what we're dealing with and what you expect. So that's what it is.
So I think Corey's here to get
Just to-
approval to send it out.
Right, I would make a motion to have Corey send out the RFP for the final draft of the, or send out RFPs for making a website design and development and hosting services.
Okay, any further discussion?
I would just like to raise, I think it would probably be me working with Corey to send it out.
Right, I could never do that. That's a Connie thing. She's the expert on that.
Okay, anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Everybody said aye. Corey, stay till the end of the meeting if you want, or go
No,
home and enjoy the sunset.
I will tell you all, as you all know, before I do leave, is this August 1st thing that's gonna be upstairs, looks like it's happening. We've got about 40 people who have RSVP'd yes, and yet I keep on hearing people, oh, I'll be there. I'm thinking, well, why didn't you RSVP? So I don't know, Friday night before Fair Day, who knows? We have 40, I'll be there, but I also have had 20, I'll be there, but they didn't RSVP. So who knows how many are gonna show up. One thing I actually wanted to mention is for Katie. Katie, have you dealt with somebody named Laura Treichman?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, Wendy Harrison, our Wyndham senator here, said she's going to try to bring Laura to this thing on August 1st. She goes, I think she needs to start seeing what you all are doing with the town hall. So.
Yeah, she presented the Historic Preservation Award this.
Oh, cool.
this
Oh, good. So you know her.
No, well, also for the one I got for the slate roof this in March.
Perfect. Oh, good. You can say hello.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I met her and Caitlin's husband. So
Okay, good. Yeah, they'll be here, and they're Wendy Harrison is very excited. She said this is exactly what she loves to see in Wyndham County. So
I think we've all drummed up like a lot of attention to the building, which I think is great.
Awesome.
Because I think
yeah,
people
well,
are paying
people
attention.
want to see that. Grant writers want to see. Well, what have you done? So now we have an answer.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Thank you.
Well, thanks for all our work on this.
Yes, my pleasure. My pleasure. It's a team. God knows this is a team effort.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, new business. Highway Foreman.
Glasses, Corey.
Oh,
Want yours?
I was wondering what's going on.
Highway Foreman request.
This is about Basin Brothers.
Basin Brothers is doing a reclaim project for the Army Corps at the dam. There's a section of dam road that is really badly alligated, and there's a big pothole in one section that keeps breaking up, and all the asphalt's breaking up. And I would like them to do a reclaim. It's about 425 feet long, and Jeff got back to me this morning. It costs us about $3,300 for them to come and reclaim that section. We'll just turn it back to gravel for now, and then that'll be part of my paving project for next year, because I do have to do some burning under the guardrails and stuff before we can pave again. The reason I'm asking is because it'll save us money on transportation, because they're already going to be at the dam doing projects for the Army Corps, and it's literally a couple feet away from each other. So
So you're asking us to spend money without an RFP because we'll
Correct.
save money, and were we saying that we already have the money in?
We have a balance because we got a grant, we have the money.
And the Route 35 paving came in under what we thought it would. And with our reimbursement also, we're gonna have even more money in there, so. We still have money left over from our originally budgeted funds. And we kind of brainstormed some projects that we could do, and this was one of them.
But the request is because they will already be there doing an Army Corps, they'll have all the equipment there, that we could get it done at a less of a cost. And it came in roughly at $3,300. So the request is not.
which I think
for
is
the-
more than fair.
Right, and we reviewed the procurement policy, and it does allow us to not have to put it out to bid if we choose, if it comes in under a certain amount, which this is considered a small amount.
9 times out of 10 days, it's going to get the project anyway. So
Which is why we decided to ask the board if that was okay.
So do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to have Basin Brothers reclaim the 425
25.
feet on the Townshend Dam Road and not to exceed $3,300.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Right.
Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, and then we did Becky already and Wyndham County Solid Waste Management District contract for compost collection.
Who currently does our compost?
Casella.
So the last time that, when we did the bids for trash services, Wyndham Solid Waste made a bid for just the compost to pick up. And I was under the impression that they came in higher than Casella, but they have clarified that they actually, their bid is less than Casella's. And they're beginning to do compost collection for surrounding towns. So the request or the issue put in front of the board tonight is to enter into a contract with the Wyndham Solid Waste to collect our compost.
I see that, I remember that, the upside of Casella was that it was 6 carts, but their carts are only 48 gallons each. And the Wyndham Solid Waste ones are 4 carts, but 65 gallons each, so it's only really a difference of 28 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
So it is 28 gallons less.
So Wayne has come to me a couple of times in the last couple of months saying that the compost bins are filling. So
They did give a quote if we wanted to add more. I don't know if we want to add more, but there is ability to add more at a cost, or we could just stay with what we have.
I'd like to know the cost because, I mean, this is
The
a
cost was
lot cheaper than Casella.
Well, the cost is in the previous bid, I can.
Yes.
I think even if we added one more, from what I remember, it's still cheaper than Casella.
Yeah, at least put Bob's figures just for everyone's sake
Well, it was nice to be
Casella's not
clarified
added
with them. Yeah,
versus 399 with Wyndham Solid Waste. So having one more cart is still gonna be almost less than half.
Less.
so do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to accept Wyndham Solid Waste proposal for the 4 carts, 65 gallons apiece, $390 per month, with the caveat to possibly add a 5th and 6th at the going rate of whatever it is, of $92.50 per cart.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Shall we have Connie call Casella or communicate with them so they're not looking or taking compost that we don't want them to take?
Yes,
Or how
please.
does that work?
Or better, we should probably get into the contract with Wyndham Solid Waste first before
Okay.
we cancel out on
Okay,
the contract. So that way there's not a delay in services.
And how do you want to handle the issue of the additional cart? Just see how it goes?
We'll
Like Jeremy-
see how it goes with
Yeah.
the 4 and then
Okay.
we'll address it.
Well, why don't we ask Bob if we can go to 5 and make it $482 or whatever it is, $250. You know, and that way we're ahead of the game. We're not playing catch up on going from 4 to whatever. We get more.
so
We
you're
gotta- we
amending
gotta
your
have-
motion?
You already said.
I already said it, $92.50 per container, whether it's
Okay.
4 or 5 or
Okay.
6 or 10. Just as long as we stick at that per
Okay,
container.
alright. And then we are on to the grant position. Connie and I were discussing, because we found notes on September 24th that we re-upped the grant position for another 6 months and then said, oops, that should have been March 24th that we discussed this again. So let's just put it on the agenda. And since then, Katie and I have had a conversation about like the 15 hours a week and maybe doing it just for, say, X amount of hours a month. And, you know, rewording it that way, because you might do 25 hours one week and 10 hours another week or something like that. So if we could possibly in this meeting or set up a time to make this a permanent position and not evaluate it every 6 months. And if so, it's the time to maybe nail down some of the things that we found a little that might need change. So do you have any thoughts, Katie, on how it's going for you?
I think it's going really well. I do think that, it is in the budget for the year, so take that for what it is, you know. I know that the town could decide not to continue it, but we did budget for it this year, which I was pleased about. I think that it ebbs and flows with the 15 hours, which is why Rob had suggested that, I think at the time, that it was an up to 15 hours a week thing. And I think that that's worked well, but I do think that giving me more like the, I mean, I try to stick to my 15 hours a week, but sometimes it makes me have to delay things, and then sometimes I have a dentist appointment or something, you know, like it's like a funny thing for me, although I can make it work if the town doesn't want to give me like 60 hours a month or whatever it would be, instead of 15 a week. But that's just basically how I write my timesheets. It's not too big of a deal. And otherwise, I mean, I would like to continue to work. I think this USDA grant is gonna take a while if we get it. It takes probably a year. And some of the VTrans stuff, like the bridges and everything that I've been working on, has some more work to do, and the pedestrian grants, but.
So I don't know where we go from here.
I guess my thought is approve it through fiscal year, so through June 30th to 26th, since that's what the budget is approved, and then annually from there.
You do keep a timesheet?
Yeah.
So
And
I
you-
personally don't have a problem with you taking and putting the time in, you know, each week at whatever rate you put it in. I'd like to see it so that it's not 3 weeks off and then all of a sudden 60 hours one week.
Oh, it wouldn't be that.
Well, you know my
Yeah,
point, I'm
I
just
know.
bringing up just a
Yeah.
thought in my mind, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think so far with everything accomplished, you've paid for yourself several times over, so.
Thank you.
did one grant specifically paid for it,
And
so.
one grant paid
yeah.
for 6 months of it, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Thank you. And there is opportunities like within the USDA grant where you can write in administrative fees, and that covers some of the time or most of the time spent on that grant, which is something I'm now learning about, which will help the town also, because then
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's a reimbursement of those funds.
So was that a motion that you
It was
made?
not yet.
Okay.
So move.
Make a motion to approve the grant coordinator position through the rest of FY25 ending on June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? Is that okay with you, Kate? You're comfortable with that? Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Interesting.
And then the ayes have it, opposed, then. Okay, and then we are into executive session. You are all welcome to wait outside if you'd like to.
Make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to 1 VSA section 213(1)A.
Second. Thank you.
See
you all.
Thank you, Dale.
Do we want to ask Connie to stay in with us?
Sure. Thank you.